While Atiku Abubakar is still in the US on the invitation by the Department of State, and Peter Obi has resumed his campaign anchored on the issues, with Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his running mate Kashim Shettima, who couldn't honor the invitation of the Chamber of Commerce, now in a meeting with the business community of the organized private sector. In all of this, the goal is to occupy the presidential villa come 2023. This is our discussion today. My name is ADS. Check out this soundbite. Watch.
And Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we are not preparing for the Olympics, but an institution that relies on the superiority of ideas and track records. And show me, I dare to challenge you, show me among all the contestants for the presidency of this country who has the experience, who has the track record, and of course, who has the intellect to catapult this nation to a higher pedestal. Leadership, Your Excellencies, goes beyond glamorizing poverty. No. We don't glamorize poverty, we fight poverty. I won't tell you that I have 2 pairs of shoes, or I have a single watch. No. Leadership goes beyond skewing dubious statistics or basking in a mediocre performance as the governor of Anambra State. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I respect Atiku Abubakar, but leadership goes beyond unstatesman-like rantings, someone who cannot unite his own party. I wonder how he's going to unite this nation. The world is talking of artificial intelligence, of big data, of nanotechnology. The training that the elder statesman got from Kano School of Hygiene was that of a wole. And believe me, the ability to sell bottled water doesn't make one an expert on the economy. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, my part in short is that Atiku Abubakar is no Abraham Lincoln. He is more of Raila Odinga. And come next year, we are going to permanently retire the political tourists back to Dubai. Thank you so much.
That was the running mate Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Senator Kashim Shettima. Shettima said Peter Obi spills dubious data and that himself and Tinubu will finally retire Atiku Abubakar, whom he addressed to be a political tourist, back to the Dubai permanently. He also said Atiku is a unifier who lacks the ability to unite his own party, the PDP. PDP has responded. Take a look at this soundbite. Watch.
It is saddening that in the midst of this cacophony, you find people who could not honor invitation given to them by the Chamber of Commerce, to which both Atiku and in fact Peter Obi, that they were ridiculing, attended. They instead organized their own private sector meeting, where they went and have what we call the Night of 1,000 Laughs. It was so comic, but it is not surprising for us because, one, it appears they have the understanding that their presidential candidate is boring and that he won't be able to communicate in clear terms, so they decided to get a vice presidential candidate that will share in this comedy and comic relief, which is what he did. But in case if he forgets, maybe a little refresher will help him. Atiku Abubakar served as the vice president from 1999 to 2007. And when they came in, Atiku Abubakar was the one practically like the sitting president, because President Obasanjo was all over the map to seek for debt cancellation and to see how we can pilot the nation. There was not a single day Atiku Abubakar or Obasanjo blamed the economy to the military, and yet everybody knew how the military bastardized the economy. Atiku sat on the economic policy that brought about revolution in the telecom industry, that created jobs. In case he forgets, Atiku Abubakar sat as the vice president over a government and economy that saw to the debt cancellation in our foreign reserve, of our debt. And then we have increase in our foreign reserve. Atiku presided as the vice presidential candidate and on many occasions as the sitting president, because we did an analysis and came to a finding that President Obasanjo traveled for a period of about 6 months over a period of the first term. It was Atiku that sat. And yet, Atiku managed insecurity in such a way that we had, you remember, we have Bakassi, we have Odudua, in the Niger Delta, we have this boil bunkering and vandalization, and in the north, we had Sharia, which created a scenario in Nigeria. There was never a complaint or blame fixing. He sat over that. In case he doesn't know, Atiku was the vice president that provided succor and relief to the state where himself and I share in Borno, that brought about the peace and stability at the time. But if he wants to know his identity, and which is because his perspective, he was the governor around the time when the man who instituted or masterminded the Madala bombing was found in Borno Government Lodge, around the time he was a governor. And it is still around his time where he said he was bringing in 30 billion to create what he called Borno Investment Hub. That place where he called the investment hub, that's where goats now, they sit to rest after they go about the places. The 30 billion cannot be accounted for. That is the economy they gathered in that meeting and they were sharing to the Nigerian people.
That was Daniel Bwala reeling out the achievements of his principal, Atiku Abubakar, during his time as the vice president of Nigeria. But that still didn't answer the issue raised by Shettima, calling Atiku Abubakar a unifier that couldn't unify his own party. Again, Atiku was said to have been invited by the US Department of State. For what reason exactly? Let's find out. Watch.
Why is your candidate in the United States?
Well, thank you. Atiku Abubakar was invited by the Department of State, and he went to the US primarily to have a conversation with the US government around good governance, things that we share. We have shared interests, such as good governance, free and fair election, democratic governance, non-interference by state actors or non-state actors in electionary process. And we were able to extract the commitment from the US government that they will ensure they play their part in ensuring that there is a free and fair process. They even promised in the build-up to the election, they will announce stiffer sanction on individual or institutions that attempt to interfere with the election.
The takeaway from that soundbite is that the US is proposing to sanction individuals and institutions that try to interfere with our elections. The question is, the US and the UN have always observed our elections in the past, and they both have witnessed the irregularities thereof. Has any individual or institution ever been sanctioned? Of course, you know the answer is a resounding no. So what will make the difference this time around? Now, here is a summary of the Tinubu and Shettima manifesto as explained by the PDP. Watch.
But let me tell you what they are selling to the Nigerian people, what they call renewed hopelessness. In their renewed hopelessness, what is their economic model?
You call it renewed hopelessness, but they call it renewed hope.
But let me tell you why it is hopeless. This current government is the government of APC. They don't even know. Their entire manifesto is a campaign against the government. And a kingdom divided against itself cannot stand. If read their campaign manifesto, it is activism. You are doing activism against who? You now said you want to remove subsidy. You forgot when Jonathan wanted to remove subsidy, all of them went to the street and called the heavens to come down on him. Remember also, as soon as the election was coming close, when they talked about subsidy, they said, who is subsidizing who? We are going to remove subsidy from day one. 8 years down the line, they have not. Even when the PIA was passed into law, which created sort of the platform for the removal of subsidy, they all came out against it. Today, even unionists in their party are saying that they want to remove subsidy. Nigerians can't be fooled in that area. They also talked about, we want to give student loan, we want to give this, and we have to give that. Read that renewed hopelessness. Where are they going to get the funding? There is no economic blueprint for job creation. And it is even surprising to me that they gathered these same people you see in the meeting they call private sector players. When you look through, you will see wounded businessmen. Businessmen who have lost billions and billions as a result of incoherent policies of APC. And they are promising the same people So look at infrastructure, for God's sake. Do you know the World Bank finding, based on the recommendation of African Union, a projected budget for development around Africa? They say 1 kilometer, the threshold for 1 kilometer of road. They said Nigeria, this APC government, inflated it by 100%. So if $1 million was used, for example, 1 kilometer, this APC were charging $10 million for that.
Daniel Bwala referred to the Tinubu-Shettima manifesto as renewed hopelessness. His confusion is that the manifesto clearly portrays activism, which is a campaign against a government led by their own party. This is quite funny. Then, as regards the corruption allegations he made in that video, it's very unfortunate that we find ourselves in this kind of situation. Whenever you hear budget in Nigeria, the general belief is that it has been inflated or padded. Imagine that for every 1 kilometer of road in Nigeria, it has been inflated by 100%. In conclusion, if you have become a tool and also an advocate of bad governance in this country, you seriously need to watch this video. Let's watch together.
Oscar! Oscar! Did they make her 2 years? 2 years when you die, come up with this life. Oscar, you are the architect of your death. Now you cause your death by yourself. Now use your hand job to kill you. You saw the problem when I caused for Nigeria. You saw the problem. You see last election, when they share 5,000, when they disturb election, when they shoot gun, when they shout, my party must win, my party must win. Sai Baba, Sai Baba. See now, Baba now well. Now every day Baba is sick. Baba is always going for treatment. Country just scatter, nothing again. What you pay me back? You say the problem where you cause, your children they suffer. You don't die now, your children still get the problem. Your children suffer. Your children they ask for more than 7 months as you go on strike. Your children not be go school. Baba not talk because Baba not wear. Yeah, what? When they tell her, yeah, when they shoot go, my party must win, my party must win. I belong to the big party. Your party don't win now. You don't die. You don't die now. You don't die. I guess when you go Kaduna, now they kill you. They say now bandits they kill you. You don't be bad government. How bandits want to see you kill? They want you bad government because not you work for the country, not you work. Not you work. Nigeria they want money. The country they indebted. Your children, you get 3 children. You teach one they want more than 800,000. You cannot take it across your body for a year. Country again. Now you caution. You remember election the last time? You pursue me, we go. You promise to pursue me because I not vote for your party. You say I must vote. You dey give me 5,000. You dey give me bullet. I copy today. For those of you who say, "No, no wise." Now that election year we don't enter so. If me like, when I still go vote for people who don't kill the country, that all of us go travel.
The message is very clear. It needs no explanation. In 2023, you owe yourself nothing but to vote right and vote wise. I will see you again. Please subscribe to this news channel. Let me be your news blog and I'll keep you updated.